Hi, boys and girls. How are you? This is your coach, Noel, and I'm so excited to be working with you today on this math lesson. Parents, I want to welcome you. Boys and girls, let's go ahead and let's take a look at our lesson for today. So what we're going to be going over are long division with one digit divisors. Okay? So with this, you're going to have several steps. You're going to have to use several steps. You're going to have to know, you definitely know your multiplication facts. You're definitely going to have to know how to subtract. And of course, we're using division, okay? So I'm going to share with you what has worked. I'm going to share with you the strategy and the recipe of how you're going to be successful doing these long division with one digit divisor problems, okay? So let's take a look at the first sample. The first sample is 1,580 divided by 6, okay? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little tiny pretend multiplication sign, okay? And let's go ahead and do this step by step, okay? And let me remind you, boys and girls, that you're more than welcome to see this lesson over and over again, as many times as you need to. No problem, okay? And the other thing I want to remind you too is that you're going to have plenty opportunity to practice. You're going to have 20 pages worth of practice problems. So this is going to be a piece of cake for you. I'm sure of it. Okay, but we definitely need to know our multiplication facts. We definitely need to use the right strategy and the right recipe. And if we do that, we're going to be just fine, and you're going to do this right every single time, okay? So again, let's get started. So 1,580 divided by 6, okay? I put my pretend multiplication sign right there, and then I have to ask myself, how many times can 6 go into 1? Well, it's 0 times, but I don't necessarily have to put a 0 here, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move down to the next piece, okay? And we're looking on the left-hand side right here. So now I'm going to see how many times 6 can go into 15. Well, I know that 6 times 1 is 6, 6 times 2 is 12, 6 times 3 is 18. Whoa, 18? I passed it. It has to be 2. 6 times 2 is 12. I'm going to put the 12 right there. Then I'm going to put a line. Then I'm going to put subtract. Okay? So now the next step is to do 15 minus 12. 15 minus 12 is going to be 3. And then what I have to do is once I do that, then I'm going to bring this 8 down. I have that arrow, you bring the 8 down. Now I have 38. Okay, so let's take a look at the next step. And again, we're over here on the left-hand side. So I've got my 6, I've got my pretend multiplication sign. I know that 6 goes into 15 2 times. I put a 12 there. I subtracted. 15 minus 12 is 3. I drop down this 8. Now I'm looking at 38. Okay, 38. How many times can 6 go into 38? Well, I know 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 7 is 42. Well, 42, I only need 38. I've already passed it. So it needs to be 6. 6 times 6, and I'm going to put the 6 above this 8. 6 times 6 is 36. So I'm going to put the 36 here. I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to put a subtraction sign there. Now I'm going to subtract 36 from 38. So 38 minus 36 equals 2. And then the next step is I'm going to go on to the next digit. I'm going to drop it down right there. So now I have 20. Okay? So far, so good. Right, boys and girls? We're doing this step by step. I'm showing you the strategy. I'm showing you the recipe. So remember, I need to have my pretend multiplication sign right here, okay? Because that helps me. So I know that 6 goes into 15 2 times. 6 times 2 is 12. 15 minus 12 is 3. I drop down this 8. Now I have 38. Now, I know that 6 times 6 goes into 38 6 times. 6 times 6 is 36. I put the 36 here. 38 minus 36 equals 2. I drop down this 0. Now I have 20. Now, how many times can 6 go into 20? Well, I know 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 4 is 24. Whoa, 24? I passed it. All I need is 20. So 6 times 3 is going to be 18. I'm going to put my 18 right here. I'm going to put a subtraction sign, my line, and then I do 20 minus 18, which equals 2. So the answer is going to be 263 remainder 2. What's left over? 2. That's my remainder. So the answer is 263 remainder 2. Awesome, boys and girls. Step by step, and remember, you're more than welcome to watch this video as often as you need to, okay? Now let's take a look at the sample on the right. We're looking at sample number 2. So now we have 7,948 divided by 3. Again, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little pretend multiplication sign right there, and then I'm going to say to myself, how many times can 3 go into 7? Well, 3 can go into 7 2 times, okay? Because if I use 3, 3 times 3 is 9. I passed it. I can't use 3. I have to get as close to it as possible without going over, okay? So 3 times 2 is 6. I put my 6 down here, my minus sign, my line. 7 minus 6 is 1. Once I have that, then I go to the next digit. I drop it down. Now I have 19. Okay, let's take a look at the next step. You're doing outstanding so far, boys and girls. All right, so let's recap. How many times can 3 go into 7? 3 times 2 equals 6. I put my 6 there. 7 minus 6 is 1. I drop down this 9. Now I have 19. So now I have to figure out how many times can 3 go into 19? Well, I know that 3 times 5 is 15, 3 times 6 is 18, and 3 times 7 is 21. 21, whoops, I passed it, so it needs to be 6. 3 times 6 is 18. I put my 18 right there, and then I subtract. 19 minus 18 is 1. Okay, I've got my 1 there. Now I go to the next digit up here, I bring it down, I've got my arrow there, I'm going to bring it down. Now I have 14, okay? How many times can 3 go into 14 is going to be our next step, okay? But let's go ahead and let's do this step by step and let's recap, okay, boys and girls? Remember, I'm your coach. I'm here to help you. Sound good? Awesome. So again, so we're starting with the 7. 3 goes into 7 2 times. 3 times 2 equals 6. Got my 6 there, my minus, my line. 7 minus 6 is 1. Got my 1 right there. I drop down this 9. Now I have 19. How many times can 3 go into 19? 3 times 6, I put my 6 up there. 3 times 6 equals 18. So now I do 19 minus 18 equals 1. Then what I do is I drop down this 4, and now I have 14, okay? So now I did, how many times can 3 go into 14? Well, I know that 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12, and 3 times 5 is 15. Whoops, 15, I passed it. Can't use 5, so it's got to be 4. 3 times 4 is 12. I put my 12 here, and then I subtract, and I put my line. 14 minus 12 equals 2. Now what I do is I go to the next digit, and I drop it down. Now I have 28. Let's go ahead and let's look at our final step. So we're right here, okay? So I still have my pretend multiplication sign here, and I'm sorry I didn't write it at the end, but let's just use good habits and let's just have it there, to help you. So let's start all the way from the beginning. 3 goes into 7 2 times. 3 times 2 is 6. 7 minus 6 is 1. I drop down this 9. Now I have 19. How many times can 3 go into 19? 3 goes into 19 6 times. I put my 6 up here. 3 times 6 is 18, okay? Perfect. So now I have 19 minus 18 equals 1, right there. Then I drop this 4 all the way down. Now I have 14. How many times can 3 go into 14? Well, it's going to go into 14 4 times. 3 times 4 is 12. I put my 12 right there. Now I do 14 minus 12 equals 2. And remember, let's drop this 8 down. Now I have 28. How many times can 3 go into 28? Well, I know that 3 times 10 is 30. Whoops, that's way too much. So let's do 3 times 9. 3 times 9 is 27. That's as close as I'm going to get. So it's going to be a 9 right here. and then 3 times 9 is 27, which I put there. I subtract, put my line, and then I do 28 minus 27, which equals 1. What's left? 1. So I've got a remainder of 1. So the answer is 2,649, remainder 1. I've got 1 left. And that's pretty much it, boys and girls. Remember, please watch this lesson as often as you need to, okay? We're not in a race. Take your time, okay? I want you to master how to do this. But there are some things you definitely need to be really, really great at. Not just good, great. You have to be outstanding in them. And those are subtraction, multiplication, and if you know those two, division is going to be absolutely easy for you. You need to know how to subtract well. You need to know how to multiply well. Let's make this easy for you, okay? Remember, we can't think about it whenever we're multiplying. You can't think about what goes into what, how many times. It's got to be quick, boys and girls. You need to know that 9 times 9 is 81 right away. You need to know that 6 times 8 is 48 right away. And if you're still having trouble with that, you need to practice your multiplication facts, okay? I know what's good for you, boys and girls. I'm your coach. I want to help you. I want to make this easy for you. I want to make it as easy as possible for you because I care about you. And I want this stuff to be easy. I definitely don't want this to be hard because there's no reason for this to be hard for you, okay? If you know your multiplication facts, I promise you that this is going to be so easy if we just follow the steps. And I've shown you the steps. Boys and girls, remember, your parents have a PDF file with 20 pages worth of practice problems. Now, do I want you to do all 20 pages of practice problems in one day? Absolutely not. Do 1 or 2 pages a week. You've got lots of work to do. You've got lots of practice to do. So this is going to be plenty, I promise you. Okay? Now, with that said, I want to thank you very much, parents. And boys and girls, we'll see you very soon at our next lesson. In the meantime, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.